Yo, what's going on, you guys? Today, I wanted to see if I could help just some people out and simplify how SOLVARCH works. Because I just watched this deep dive, and they already said in the stream they're using a new deep dive format, okay? So, there's just like a lot of things to go over. I feel like it's a bit too much for most people. I even looked at the comments. It's just this new deep dive format is atrocious. So yeah, I'm gonna just try to explain it as simply as I can. And if you have any comments or questions, let me know and I can help you guys out. But based on what I gathered, so let's just start with just the core mechanics and yeah, just the core mechanics. So first thing, of course, he has the. I'm not gonna play the audio because it's just. I mean,
Just
it's like he just taught karate Mike. There's a lot of things he goes over, but we have he has a fractured power bar, okay? So like any other idol champion, he has a fractured power bar. And I don't know why it's not loading, but he has a fractured power bar like any other idol champion. And there we go. And so obviously you can use any special attack you want, right? You can use any special. If you have 3 bars of power, you can use just any special that you want, which is great, right? So it doesn't need to be, explained super long. In the second core mechanic, it's actually a lot, but it's his ISO core. So this is how he gains his charges. And I wanted to write down bullet points, but there are quite a few things that I need to go over that I'd probably miss. So let's just start with his 2 modes. So he has this absorb mode, which is the blue one, and he starts in this mode, right? He has 5 armor ups he will start with in this mode in the fight and like in every fight. So no option to change that. And over each second he gains 1 and then he gains an additional 10 from I'm pretty sure blocking energy attacks. So any energy, I think it's any energy damage source at all, he'll gain just extra charges. I think specifically it's 10, but he gains a lot more of these absorb charges or just charges in general from energy attacks. So he has this other mode which is highlighted. So the release mode is the orange one, and we'll get into how he switches between modes, but this is where you get your damage from, and you can convert your armor ups from your blue release mode. Um, Over here, you can convert these armor ups into energizes, which just helps you throw more special attacks. And when you're in this release mode, you also get a reverb passive, which does extra bonus, red damage, physical damage. So red numbers, physical damage, yeah, same, kind of same thing, for the most part. But yeah, he also gains 5 release mode or just 5 charges when he uses his second medium. So second medium applies a cold snap. He gains 5 charges. So that's just another nice way to ramp up when throwing your combo. And there's a lot of footage. I'm just gonna try to. Let's try to get into like what kind of rotation you want. There's a lot of rotations. It's just very complicated, this deep dive. But okay, so in his release mode, he loses 4 every second. Um, so you're gonna want to go fast when you're in the release mode because you have a lot of charges, but then again, you want to make sure you're getting your damage off. So, for example, right here, he was in the absorb mode. Let me see if I can pause it. So he was in the absorb mode, the blue right here, and using the special attack went into the release mode. So anytime you use a special attack, you switch to the other mode. So you use the special one, and now he's in release mode. So it's converting all of the armor ups into energizes, and that's another thing. So real quick, the way you convert armor ups into energize or energize into armor ups is by you have to tap. So when you use a special attack, you have to tap the screen and then it converts them. So it's a little tedious because honestly, it's not the biggest payoff ever, but it's also kind of fun. I don't know. You just have to tap the screen and you convert your buffs. So now he has the energize. The release mode charges are depleting. But he also is getting that reverb damage up, which is nice. And the cold snap does help against evade, which is pretty useful. It'll come in handy for like Spider-Verse champions and stuff like that. But all right, there are some more core mechanics. So if you're in the release mode, obviously, like I said, you're at 100 charges, but you're in absorb mode. You have 100 charges. Your special 2, you tap on the screen, right? While you're doing the special 2, it converts each 10 is 1 armor up. So keeps tapping, more armor ups, gets more armor ups. And maybe I don't think 11 is the stack limit, but you can just get a lot of armor ups from tapping when you're in absorb mode. So another thing that's kind of sneaky that like briefly go over is I'm sure there's gonna be another piece of footage that'll show it. But when you're in absorb mode and you use a special 2 or I think a special 1, but I'm just gonna say special 2 for now because that's what they show. You apply a power drain on the opponent, right? But this is actually very important because the power drain is paused when you're in absorb mode. So while you're in absorb mode, it's paused the whole time and it drains 2% of their power per second. So when you switch modes, there is a timer for 10 seconds and then it starts ticking down. But when you're in release mode, a timer starts ticking for 10 seconds, right? But when you're in this absorb mode, it's just paused. So he has some great power control and then some great damage. He's kind of like Nimrod. Just think like that. He's definitely like a better Nimrod for sure. And yeah, the show once again. I don't want to rush through it because 8-minute video. There is actually a bit to go over in these 8 minutes. But yeah, armor ups. He keeps tapping on the screen, gets the energizes, and then it does the damage. Also, so if you're doing the second special attack, special 2, it applies a heal block instead of the power drain, a passive heal block, which is pretty nice, and that looks to also be paused or just indefinite while you're in this mode, which is pretty cool. So that's pretty much it for his core mechanics. He also does stun. You have to have at least 5 armor ups, I'm pretty sure, or 5 buffs to stun the opponent with your special 1. Okay, and that should be it. Just going over the tapping again. And then there are so many rotations, but let me just take you through the 2 that are the most important. So there are like 5 rotations. His first rotation is aggressive special 1 and special 2. So I'll just let it play. But starting from this fight, so Nightcrawler, he's gonna stop evading because you applied the cold snap. And it looks like, yeah, so now I can clarify that blocking actually grants 10 charges. Not just energy damage grants 10 charges, but blocking grants 10 charges. So parrying and stuff grants 10 charges. Energy damage just grants more. Like it'll be like your cheat code for charges. But as you can see, gets to 100, then goes into release mode in the special 1, taps to exchange the armor ups for energize, and now he's doing the burst damage. So he goes to another special 1, which is kind of interesting, but that will actually get more armor ups, and also it does power drain. So the special 2 will apply a power drain debuff that's paused, but the special 1 will just drain a whole bar of power. Okay, so I know these things are it's kind of hard to understand because there are a lot of mechanics just thrown throughout the video. It's not mainly in this core mechanics section. So I just have to throw out some random things like that because that's how they go about it. It's kind of hard to memorize all of that without the footage. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So special 1 will burn a bar of power. Special 2 will apply the power drain in absorb mode. And then for his release mode, like we went over, special 1 will do the stun. and special 2 will do the heal block. So yeah, the stun is only with his release mode during a special 1. Just to clarify that, I know it's probably hard to understand, but yeah, any comments, questions, let me know. Of course, I'm still trying to fully grasp him too. But yeah, he'll go for another special 1 to max out the energize, right? And then let's just speed this up a little bit. Special 2, and he should be dead. So he only has 50 charges, but still, it's enough to kill Nightcrawler. That is the main. I think that's the main rotation. You just use your energizes. Go to release mode with special 1 to get energize. Do another special 1 to gain more armor ups. Therefore, that'll allow you to get more energize. Basically, your max energize, or as many as you can. And 10 is a good safety net. Then you can go for a special 2 in release mode and do your damage. Now, they throw in a random additional utility thing. We'll get to that after the second rotation. This is his Sig ability. But yeah, there's like two other rotations they show. It's not that important. This one goes over the power drain that I was talking about, but that's kind of, I don't know why it's just thrown randomly in here. It's kind of dumb. Me personally, I think they should include that in the core like mechanics and stuff. But that's the main rotation. In the second rotation, just real quick, it's a special 3. So, as we're gonna see, just the regular, good old, armor ups and stuff. But actually, we start out the fight by going to a special 2 and getting more armor ups. So that'll power drain the opponent, like I said, and then he's gonna go for a special 1 to gain more energize, right? But now you can actually go for a special 3. So you have max charges and you have a lot of energize and reverb. And I don't know how the special 3 gauges the damage, but I do know that here's another random thing. I just have to remember this to throw it in here. Each energize grants like 20% additional attack, I think. Something like that. I think it's 20% additional attack. So that may be why it does so much damage. But his special 3 actually does a lot of damage. So cool animation, of course. And it does 300,000 damage. Now, this is like a rank 4 or something, but that's still a lot of damage. That's still a pretty good amount of damage. And the reason why it's maybe even great damage is because you can rush to another one. Just have to get your charges back, which should be really quick because of all those energizes. And then you have the power control because you are in absorb mode. So it's pretty interesting. You can go for the special 3 just for some like big bursts of damage, but you don't have to. It's just another thing to throw out there because that's the only time they go over the special 3. Okay, those were the 2 rotations. Now the Sig ability, just real quick, we don't have to really look at the footage. So when his block would be broken by unblockable or crush, okay, he consumes 2 armor ups to gain a steadfast for 2 seconds. And if the hit is from a special attack, reduce the armor up cost by 50%. So Sig 200, if they're unblockable or you have a crush on you, you consume 2 armor ups to go steadfast and block it. But if it's a special attack, you only consume 1. Because it's Sig 200. And then also when he has a steadfast, he is immune to crush. So that's pretty nice, but it's not great, honestly. And I don't really care too much about that. That's just for like onslaught, really. But yeah, that's pretty much it. One more thing is his defense. They also show a final rotation. This final rotation is just this one right here with a special 1 and special 2. That's why I said there's only 2 main rotations. The special 3 rotation is nice, but it's not needed. For like medium short-ish fights, this special 3 rotation is not really needed, but you can go for it. All right, the last thing that we have to go over is his defense real quick. So he reduces, I don't even know the specific percentage or whatever they said, but he reduces the critical damage from the attacker by just a lot. because he's really tanky. He has the armor ups, and the armor ups reduce critical damage by a ton. Okay. Secondly, um, obviously he has unpredictable special attacks because he's an idle champion. Um, and he has the energize, which also makes him pretty annoying. But he has the energy damage that you do to him on offense when you're fighting him is not good at all. So if you're doing energy damage like Infamous Iron Man, he regens half of it, but then also there's a kinetic discharge that is just like kind of always on the opponent, or at least in the absorb mode, I think. I think this kinetic discharge is just on the opponent like the whole time, and it reflects the damage you do. That's energy damage. So if you're doing energy damage with this kinetic discharge on you, it's getting reflected back onto you, and you're gonna die. So he has some pretty nice defensive mechanics, which are gonna be probably really annoying. But I think all you would really need is a power control or a like armor break, just massive cosmic champion. That's pretty much what I gathered, like a serpent or something, or like a Doom, I think. He does have energy damage, but yeah, so Doctor Doom might not work. So your best bet is probably just going to be a crazy cosmic champion. But yeah, then they go over all. They're like, okay, we showed four rotations, but let's go over one more. So yeah, hopefully this video helped. I try to simplify it. I will have timestamps to make it all simpler. Okay. It's still a great deep dive. I really like it, and I don't love the format, but I really like SOLVARCH. I can't wait to get my hands on him and take him to rank 4. I'm not gonna lie. I think I have to. But yeah, 2 rotations, his sig ability, his defense, and the core mechanics that we already went over in the beginning, which is probably like the most annoying and tedious thing to kind of go over because there is quite a bit with him. Although it looks simple, there is quite a bit. He's just overall a better version of Nimrod. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. Looks awesome. Great animations. Hopefully this video I made helped you guys out. Of course, support Marvel Contest of Champions, their channel. They did a good job, but need some retuning with this format for the deep dive. So yeah, hopefully this helped. Any comments, questions, I will be here to answer. And of course, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys all very soon.